Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 107 of Did You Bring the Hummus podcast. I'm Kimberly, your host, and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Did You Bring the Hummus is a podcast for all things vegan. Episodes post every Monday on your favorite podcast app. Before we get started, I have one very important question for you. Did you bring the hummus? Do you love the podcast? Want to help me keep it going? Visit the Support the Podcast tab on my website to learn more. Join me on alternating Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern for an hour of meditation. Sign-up options include individual sessions, a monthly subscription, or a 10-session package good for 6 months. I have joined forces with Jennifer Shlomovich of The Confident Vegan on a new project, new-ish, I guess. It's been 3 months now. That Vegan Morning Show, which airs on YouTube every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's live, by the way. Join our mailing list and get a free recipe ebook with some of our favorites. Today, I am joined by Plant-Based Susy. Plant-Based Susy is one of the founders of vegansusy.com, a dynamic platform dedicated to empowering women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond to achieve sustainable weight loss and long-term wellness through an enjoyable, accessible, and deeply transformative process. Susy offers personalized meal plans, online courses, and one-on-one coaching under the mantra, more plants, less pounds. Her approach is holistic, focusing not only on diet, but also on mindset, strength training, and mindfulness to create lasting health improvements. With years of experience guiding women through their health journeys, Susy is passionate about tackling common dieting frustrations and fostering a supportive community centered on compassion, health, and personal empowerment. Her methodology, coined SAFE, sustainable, adaptable, fulfilling, and encouraging, offers a blueprint for women to reclaim their health with a gentle, results-driven approach that is as rewarding as it is effective. Her blog post, Find Your Health and Wellness Mindset with Vegan Susy, captures her philosophy that true health begins in the mind, blending nourishing plant-based food with strength training and self-compassion. Through vegansusy.com, Susy continues to inspire and guide her audience toward living vibrant, healthful lives, providing both practical tools and heartfelt encouragement along the way. Hey, Susy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me this morning, this
Hey,
afternoon.
Kimberly. Yeah, well, it's your morning, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's in the afternoon for me.
Yeah. Well, welcome. I'm so excited.
Hi.
We were just having a wonderful chat, and maybe some of the stuff will come up while we're recording too, but we are both
Mm,
avid Toastmasters, and we were
yeah.
just when you meet another Toastmaster, you can't help but just chat about it for longer than you expected. So
Yeah.
but Susie,
Yeah.
I'd love for us to start with you sharing your vegan journey.
Oh, thank you. Well, thanks again, Kimberly, for inviting me on. Very excited. And yeah, so my I started in 2005. Well, I wasn't quite a vegan then, but in 2005 I met my partner who had been a vegan or was a vegan, is still a vegan for 30 years.
Wow.
So yeah, he was when he was 20, yeah, when he was just over 20, he became a vegan. So, and when I first met him, very intrigued. But like most people, I thought, oh, I could never be a vegan, just
Yep.
far too, hate to say the word, extreme. People use that word. And because it's just so out of our norm. So, and like a lot of people as well, that kind of went down well with the family, not, it's like at the time, I mean, it seems now, especially from where I am, and I appreciate even in this day and age, it does depend where you are in the world, how still accepted it is. I'm
Mhm.
from London, so it's just a bit more, uh, it's a bit more accepted, bit more comfortable, and you can buy alternatives, and when people are entertaining. But at that time in 2000, so we got to go, say 2006, it was a really uncomfortable subject topic. You come around when he started coming around, it's like, oh no, what do we cook? And then you've got to cook something separate, and So there's all of those things, challenges and things to be aware of. But I when I met him, I wasn't a vegan. But we at home I used to just for comfort and ease. I used to um, eat just plant-based and no dairy products. In fact, I had dairy occasionally, but I didn't eat meat and, you know, so it was a very slow transition for me. And in fact, I was already having soya milk because I used to teach exercising and I'd already learned that, we couldn't digest enzymes in the milk, which is
Mm.
actually, it's one of the biggest allergens, which I don't know if people know, but it is one of the biggest allergens. So because humans aren't really meant to have
Mhm.
an animal's milk for its calf. So I was already doing that. So it was a really slow transition. And like anything, the more that you find out, I couldn't unlearn what I was learning. And from being sort of a flexitarian, I went pescatarian. So I stopped all sort of and meat, just having fish. And then slowly I just stopped having that and yeah, I decided that vegetarianism was when it's just almost like it's worse than um it's worse because it's a slow drawn out situation for the animal rather than just killing them. You might as well just eat them rather than
Mhm.
so once you find out things, and then I thought finding out about the environment, finding out about using up 75% of our planet for um agriculture and killing all biodiversity. It's affecting all our waterways. I mean, there's so many things it's all connected to, which we just don't really address. We don't think about because, it's all kept under covers.
Mhm.
And then I just realized, am I part of the problem or part of the solution? I love that terminology and
Yeah.
just decided I wasn't paying for it anymore. And yeah, I became fully vegan, made the decision in 2000 and well, about 8 years ago. But it was so funny. I was buying because you don't realize, how it's going to affect you until you're doing
Mhm.
it. Because being a vegetarian seems so much easier now. It really didn't affect me being a vegetarian, having dairy. So I understand how people find it, difficult. But this is why you have to really know why you're doing it. Because without the real reason, it is difficult. Because everyone talks about cheese,
Mhm.
cheese and eggs is the hardest thing. But once you really look into what that whole factory industry is like and what you're, paying for, then it's
Mhm.
easier. But I remember going to a festival, and whereas I used to have even something so basic as like croissants and cakes, and you're like, oh yeah, I can't have that now. So you've got to know why you're doing it, and
Right.
but there's other choices. It's easier once you get used to it.
And especially now, right? I went vegetarian in 2001
Yeah,
and I wanted so badly to be vegan,
yeah,
but the first time I tried the only vegan cheese I could find at the store,
yeah.
I decided to make nachos and I
Mm.
put it wasn't even shredded cheese, right? I had to kind of shred it myself and I did not know how to cook at this point, so it was just we were just going for a disaster. But I kinda, like, sliced the cheese and I put it on top of the nachos and I put it in the
Mm.
oven and it's cooking and I'm like, "Oh, what is that smell? It smells like burning plastic?" And I pull it out and it's kind of melted in a couple spots, but there's just one big bubble that looks like plastic, like you've just blown into, like, a little plastic bubble,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
it went right in the garbage. So it took me a lot longer to go vegan than I would have liked it to. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the options nowadays are just anyone who's like, "Oh, it's easier to be vegetarian than to be vegan," today, I would say, I don't know if that's true.
Uh-huh.
I think it's easy now to be vegan,
Mm.
certainly more so than the early 2000s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's like anything, isn't it? And that is the whole point. And that's why I love that for part of the problem or part of the solution, because I think because it's such a big problem we've got, and the reason, it's you get it. What difference can I make? I can make no difference, but you can, but we can. Our money is a direct that word buying signal to
Mhm.
the producers. Once you start spending your money elsewhere, you are signaling what you believe in and what
Right.
you're paying for, and that makes a world of difference. And it's just a butterfly effect, isn't it? I mean, I know from when you've done it, you know how you've affected your friends. You create conversations, you get people thinking. So
Mhm.
when we think that what difference will I make? You make all the difference. We make all the difference, and we have to believe that. And then we have more options, and then they invest more to create more,
Mhm.
and that's the whole thing. And that's why we've got more options now, because more people are doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm, mm,
So when when you and your partner first got together,
mm.
were there conversations about like why he was vegan and what he thought it meant to the world and like were you open
Oh,
to it or
very,
what?
very interesting question. And I tell you why that's interesting, because whereas I would give a different answer to him now,
Mhm.
because and this really does stem from where you are in this journey and the global situation, I think,
Mhm.
or where you are in the country. Because when he first turned vegan, I mean, it was literally a case where his mum cried. His mum was from a farming industry.
Mm.
His mum sort of really was upset, thought it was like, the worst thing. Although from when I met her, she was very accommodating and used to make for him, like go out of her way to make lovely desserts and, dinners and stuff. But in that initial onset, and because it was so misunderstood back then, and you are just an awkward person,
Yeah.
and because veganism has got such a bad name because they're seen as extremism, not realizing that the extremism lies on what is happening to the animals, because that's not understood. Because he got such backlash and you're ostracized, and he actually never talked about it, because yeah, vegans, that word, because it stares you in because it challenges people for their own actions.
Yeah.
People think that you're preaching. You're not preaching, you're just telling people facts.
Mhm.
And people just don't like to hear it. So that's why people use that word, oh, they're so preachy. No, you're not preaching, you're just stating the fact. And
Right.
because you have taken that action, I think it makes people have to reflect, and they don't like to, because if they're not taking action, that's their own um, personality. They've got to really look at themselves. And if they're not comfortable with it, or they're comfortable, then whatever their choice is. But it's not vegans are being preachy, they're just stating facts. But he stopped talking about it. So he just used to
Mhm.
say he's he's lactose intolerant. He literally just used to say that to stop conversations, because
Yeah.
talking about veganism in certain environments, it's worse than talking politics and religion.
Yeah.
It's as intense,
Mhm.
because in fact it's more intense, because it's literally challenging what you're doing. You have to do every day. Like, we have choice about a lot of things, but we don't have choice about the like eating. We have a choice about what we're eating, but we have to eat. So
Mhm.
so what you're making a choice about is so massive, and that's why it's the one thing is the biggest effect, the biggest, um, boldest, and the biggest effect you can have on the environment, and global warming, compassion, by choosing what you eat, and health, which we'll get onto, because it's all
Mhm.
connected actually. but we do have a choice. But he sort of steered away from it because yeah, it just got
Mhm.
people. It would always just get into a heated conversation.
Yeah.
So he just used to steer away from it
Mhm.
from because of past experience. Yeah, it's quite interesting. It is interesting. It's a big learning curve how to deal with those situations. And again, I think it's the time you're in. I think it's easier now to have some conversations because people are a bit more educated about it. I think it depends who you're talking to. If you think they're an open-minded person or just someone who's just going to be triggered,
Right.
best to avoid. Best
Yeah.
to best to tell not to tell them the truth because they're not one who want to listen to the truth
Exactly. You're
anyway.
really just
What
wasting
is
your
the
time.
point, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, Toastmasters again, choose your audience.
That's right.
There's no point talking to people that really don't, I don't care.
Yeah. I love Dr. Doug Lisle, co-author of The Pleasure Trap. He
Oh,
Yeah, he
I've
wrote
not
that
I've
book.
not I've not read that yet.
Oh, you've got to read it. It's good.
The Pleasure
Especially because
Trap.
your focus is so much, and we'll get to this too, on like mindset
Yeah.
and kind of understanding how that all works together. You're
Oh, of
going to love it.
course. Oh, yeah, of course. I need
Yeah.
to do that. Mm.
And so he wrote it with his best friend, Dr. Ellen Goldhammer. But Dr. Doug Lisle, when he gives talks about the pleasure trap, one of the things that he always talks about is when you're making this change and you're in an environment where you think, if you say, I would like the vegan meal, or I'm eating plant-based, or whatever it is, and you feel like the audience around you is either going to have a negative reaction, or you have like you're at family gathering and that one
Mm.
uncle is just going to give you shit.
I
He's
know.
like,
Yeah,
just tell
exactly.
him, hey, my doctor put me on this. I'm doing it because my doctor says it's good for me. And I like it so far. We'll see how it goes. He's like, that will shut them down because for some reason, people will respect your doctor saying, hey, do this,
Yeah.
versus you making an informed choice about how you treat yourself and
Yes.
the choices you make in your life. So
Sure.
he's like, always just dump it on your doctor if it's somebody you don't want to have that conversation with.
Absolutely. So, and that's it. He just said he was lactose intolerant. So it
Yeah.
just kind of set that aside. Yeah,
Hmm.
totally. But that's a brilliant, yeah, brilliant idea. And that's it, isn't it? It's just being informed. And I think again, that is the number one thing, isn't it? Just getting the information, getting the facts, because without that, you're not going to find it easy to transition, to stick with it, to deal with people,
Hmm.
to deal with those conversations, the
Yeah.
whys, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just habit, and
Hmm.
it's just having that framing, how you frame things to whether or not it's realistic, feasible, when you've got a big enough reason. um, and then, yeah, knowing and all the benefits of it. Oh my gosh.
Right. Physical, emotional, mental. It it kind of addresses everything.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And again, we'll get onto it, but for me, it really went full circle from starting it for the environment. And actually, for me, it was environment first. I didn't even
Mm.
still connect the animal suffering and the absolute horrors. I didn't know about it. Oh my God.
Mhm.
And then I started to learn more about that. So that was um yeah, mind blowing how still the disconnection. So now
Mhm.
going down the meat, oh, I can't even look. It is just
Yeah.
horror.
Yeah.
But then it came full circle when I was actually in a Zoom or a Facebook group, and I heard someone say, being vegan doesn't mean you're healthy.
Mm.
I was
Ugh.
like, I was
Oh.
like, what do you mean? And I felt quite, I felt quite defensive, which is
Mhm.
fair enough though, because that's what meat eaters feel. They feel defensive. So
Mhm.
fine. So I looked into it, and that's when I came into whole food, plant-based. So that's where it really went full circle for me. So
Mhm.
it made total sense because like you say, it's easy to go, and I think the word easy is very
Mhm.
poignant, uh,
Yeah.
because that's why we have health issues, and there's a lot of problems with health because we just rely on convenience food, which is processed, highly processed.
Mhm.
So I just started to understand a bit more about the highly processed, the UPSs, ultra processed. Yeah, that's it. They call it the ultra processed foods, UPFs. And so I did the Centre of Nutrition Studies course with Dr. Colin Campbell.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I read the China study, and I
Yeah.
just found it for me, it was like a massive breakthrough. It really
Mhm.
kind of went full circle for me with the whole health and well-being because I've always been into it, but was still putting on weight as a vegan because I wanted quick food. I didn't respect what was really going into my body.
Mm. I came to veganism from the animal perspective.
Yeah.
So I always say like I hate myself. I don't hate the animals, which is why I'm willing to eat the junk food. But
Well, no, but it's so true. But then I thought, and that is it. But yeah, obviously, and that's the thing. Veganism is about the animals generally. That word,
yeah.
it's for
Yep.
ethics.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, but you can so there are, you can be a vegan who eats junk food, and I
yeah,
still think
mm,
that if you are eating junk food or comfort food,
mm,
um, if you hadn't gone vegan, that's probably what you would have been eating,
yeah,
you know? So I still think it's
definitely.
a huge improvement to the planet, to the animals, maybe not to your health, but I would think that your health probably wasn't going to change all that much anyway.
100%. 100%. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. It's totally separate. Yeah, you're right. You're just not eating animals, but you still love your comfort food. Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, there's, the movement into whole food plant-based and understanding
Mm,
really like eating those foods that truly come from nature. They don't have labels on them at the grocery store.
mm,
They're one ingredient items that you pull
mm,
together to create incredible meals.
mm,
It does feel to me
mm,
more connected to the earth, which is
mm.
something that's important to me.
Mm.
But I still get down with a vegan cupcake.
Hell yeah. Listen, I love this quote and this terminology. Um, Progress over perfection. And it's the 80/20 rule. Listen, there is that I still have my burgers. I found in one of our shops, it's like a Beyond Burger, but we've got another version of it which is cheaper, and I love it because it's not in plastic, it's in just in card, but it's so tasty. So hell, hey, burgers, chips, hell yeah. Who doesn't love a Friday night dinner or a Saturday?
Right.
You've got your comfort. And but it's just understanding, yeah, just having it's just again, it's like that transition from going um into veganism, whether you've done it via being a vegetarian, pescatarian, this transition. So it's just turning that again on its head and making little swaps and changes that can
Mhm.
make a big difference just in our health because we're trying to create a message and lead a life with purpose. But then, but like you say, why not look after ourselves so we can help spread that message further and more
Yeah.
and be a good, like, a representative of that. Um, but yeah, I mean, like you say, I think you are what you were before being, vegan or something. And I've always been into training. I've just found that whole food plant based, trying to do it 80% as much as you can. And there's certain things as well you can do, like strategy, bulk cooking. I never
Mhm.
used to really focus on bulk cooking before.
Mhm.
Now that I've always got healthier options rather than picking. And that whole thing of not trying to go hungry to lose weight. There's loads
Right.
of strategies that I've learned now in this
Mhm.
whole sort of weight loss, trying to keep fit industry. All the the real um false kind of promises and things that they talk about, that strategies just to really help you be healthier, eat
Mhm.
healthier and more consistently. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So you talk a lot about mindset.
Mm.
Tell me how that comes into your work and like where you think it's most important for us as we kind of explore taking care of ourselves in a different way.
Yeah. But I suppose, yeah, like you say, it is caring. You said something earlier, and I thought it really does. It's very poignant. You care for the animals, but you don't care for yourself. You said something, and I think 'cause a lot of women that I talk to, um, it does boil down to that, doesn't it? It's like loving yourself to think, well, I need to put more time and energy into looking after
Mhm.
myself. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like fast food, that's the name for a reason. It's fast food.
Right.
And there was a saying that I saw. So there's a quote that I had, and not going to do it much justice. But if it's fast, it's not going to be good or something. Because like
Okay.
anything in life worth
Yeah.
attaining, if it happens too fast, it's not gonna last.
Mhm.
Anything worth achieving takes effort. And it's the
Yeah.
same with our food. How can we expect to, be healthier if we've not put a bit of mindfulness and thought into it? Which again only takes time. It's only habit. It's like when we transitioned into veganism or whatever we wanted to do. We talked about Toastmasters. When we
Mhm.
went into Toastmasters, I found the whole online system and our the pathways overwhelming.
Yeah.
We found going on stage, speaking in public overwhelming. It's through practice, it's through developing things into our subconscious. When you're first looking at labels, getting into the habit of, oh gosh, I forgot to look at that. Oh, look, it's got milk in it, or whatever it
Mhm.
be. It
Yep.
just takes time, and it's the same with it's just being more mindful. And I think, again, getting back to, sorry, I do go on tangents, but being mindful, have a mindset back to self-worth. Again, it's knowing the why.
Mhm.
It's bringing it back to why. Do we feel that we want to get healthier? Do we feel we could be more agile, have more energy? Are we taking medication because of how we're looking after ourselves? And
Mhm.
and I tell you what, I don't know. Well, I know what it's like in the UK, and I'm pretty sure I know it's not great in America because you have to pay for everything.
Mhm.
So it's when you think about it, if if we've chosen to be, or someone wants to look after the environment and planet, then I realize, why not look after yourself as well? And it's the same process of just being a bit
Mhm.
more mindful, and you can change it, because you will nourish, it will naturally, they say, don't they, that your gut, I mean, there's a lot of talking now about the gut, how that's central to all of our health, immune system, energy, mind, mood. And it's like how we fertilize the land, the soil, we have to look after that.
Mhm.
And it's the same with eating foods, like you say, as little as ingredient as possible. So beans, pulses, veg, and it's just making those little swaps.
Mhm.
At a time. And I suppose, like you say, you've just got to think of why. A lot of women I speak to, if it's, if they're taking medication for diabetes, or feeling sluggish, or just want to be around longer for their grandchildren, and it all plays a part. When I did the course with T. Colin Campbell, what I loved, the first thing that they got us to do, our homework, they said, because again, it's one of those things, and what they told us, don't take what we say for as gospel.
Mhm.
Research it. And it's the
Mhm.
same for anyone looking into this podcast. Research it. And what made me realize, when you see the facts, if you, anyone listening to this, if you just look online and find out what are the top 10 causes of death,
Mhm.
8 out of 10 is lifestyle,
Yeah.
because the number one is heart conditions. And then, there's loads of things. They've even put down dementia and Alzheimer's, a lot to do with your food.
Mm.
But if they got us to research, and yeah, 8 out of 10 is all lifestyle, um,
Yeah.
down to the lifestyle. So, and that is food. It's food, drink, clearly other abuses, but so it just, yeah, it took me down to that pathway of going more whole food. But believe you me, I'm not perfect, so it's fine. You don't have to. It's not like, oh, I'm not allowed, chocolate or crisps, but it's just getting it a bit more balanced.
Right. I love that you pointed out too. I think when we hear a lot about health, changing our bodies, it's so much about you have to lose weight. And then this focus because here in the US and many other countries, so much of it is like if you don't look a certain way, especially as a woman, your value
Mm,
is less. So if you're
mm,
not a small person, you're not thin, you're not sexy, you're not interesting, people don't care what you have
mm,
to say. And so we can be shamed into feeling like our bodies aren't good enough, like we need to find a way to make them fit that mold. But you also said, what about if you felt more agile? What if you just need more energy? So you don't need to be focused on, I weigh this number and I need to weigh that number. We can look at, how am I feeling after caring for myself? And we don't have to, veganism is not a diet. Eating plant-based is a diet, but it
mm,
doesn't, the word like diet really just means. And so if we can take kind of that negativity out of that negative connotation out of that word, then we
mm,
can understand like we can eat a certain way and
mm,
use it to fuel us. That's what we need to think about, right? It's the fuel that gets us going in the morning, keeps us going throughout the day, helps us. I loved that you said agile because I'm thinking I went to see Victoria Moran do a talk about her latest book, Age Like a Yogi, and she is just so wonderful, and I love her so much.
mm.
But she's 75, and as she's talking, she walks to the center of the room, and she sits on the floor. And then she gets back up off the floor. She's not leaning over. She didn't use her hands. She just used her legs to push herself back up. And me at 44, I'm like, I said to her, I want to be you when I grow up. I want to be able to get up off the floor without having to lean over, use my hands. I'm twisting. It's uncomfortable. Like, what a something we take for granted, and we can find a way to be agile and healthy, and it doesn't matter if that number on the scale matches what our culture tells us it should. And so I
Mm.
appreciate that you brought that in because I think when we start to talk about health and even mentioning weight loss, people start to feel like, okay, I'm backing off, I don't want to
I
hear that.
know.
Yeah.
Do you know what? And I totally, and it's very hard. And I'm thinking how to position my. The thing is, it's quite different when you're trying to, because of my business and stuff and what I'm doing. Because don't forget, we also have to what's searchable.
Mhm.
Yeah. What's searchable, but because that's kind of, people just kind of use it as a weight loss thing, but it is fundamentally how it's going to make you feel and why. Again, it's back to that, because it is generally because you are, one is on sort of like medication, or they're worried about going on medication, or they're worried about, because they see, they've seen a death, unnecessary death in their family. My mother-in-law, she was morbidly obese, and so she died of a, she died really young. She was like 60, like she had a blood clot, and the thing is, it's not to shame people, but the point being that generally manifests into something else because your body will suffer. With
Mm.
knee, for example, walking, you're putting strain on joints. So I know, for example, I know people that are really suffering with bad knee issues, because it puts pressures on joints. So I don't think, because one could say that then again about the whole vegan thing, when you're having that conversation with someone that we feel like we're shaming them because we've turned to not eat animals,
Mhm.
but the reality is that is, I suppose it's just putting another perspective on it. And I suppose, yeah, we have to be careful how we word it. But the yeah, it's I think like you say, it's understanding what we want for ourselves. For me, it was about being agile.
Mhm.
It was about being fit, that I could walk up, because when I go on holidays, when I go out with my daughter, I want to be able to bike ride with her. I want to be able to go walking, and when she has a children, I want to be there to be able to play with them and not be too tired. Oh, I can't do that. Be one of the ones who are left in the car or left in a pub because they can't do the walk. So it depends what you want. And I tell you
Mhm.
another big thing. Kimberly, I certainly do not want to be relying on the health system.
Mm. Same.
The cost, well, but this is it. It's like taking control. It's like, um, because we can do
Mhm.
it. We have everything that we have. We've got all the resources, we've got
Yeah.
all the information, all the support. There's people
Mhm.
out there who are just cheering us on. We've
Yeah.
got all the support we need to be as fit and healthy and confident as we want, because all the resources are there. Um, I kind of lost my thought. I was going to say something there, but yeah, it's just setting little standards for ourselves, and not expecting too much, because I think we might have tried things in the past and I think people give up. And this is that whole thing, like you say, that whole guilt thing, and the diet
Mhm.
industry just kind of frames it in such a way and gives such expectations that I think people fail because they're not taught how to do it properly or understand food, rather than promising massive weight loss and then people don't do it, or they might lose a lot and then it's not sustainable, so then they put it back on. It's this whole
Mhm.
thing, um because it's a massive industry, the diet
Yeah.
industry.
Yep.
It's one of the biggest industries. So I think it's just learning to how to do it for yourself sustainably, comfortably, in your lifestyle, with your food and your level at that time, and doing it slowly.
Yeah.
But it's so achievable. And
Mhm.
like anything, once you start seeing the benefits and the effects, it's so empowering.
So I know that you like to train, you're very into that aspect and like exercising. I'm
Mm.
just wondering for someone I do have some listeners who are larger bodied,
Mm.
and if they wanted to get started in the movement piece of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what kind of recommendations do you have? Because you mentioned, like, knees, and I know that with all that extra weight, putting on your knees is straining them. So, like,
Mm.
what if you were to say, like, here's where I would say try getting started, like, what are
Mm.
some suggestions you have for that?
That's a really, really good point. And that's really, I think, finding something that you can do consistently, like even just walking. Like, I even have to remind myself, whilst I like exercising, um, and I've done it for years, but I've gone in and out again. And it's one of those things, I think people exercise and or do something, they start a diet or try and eat healthier or try and exercise. And because they're not consistent, they stop. But
Mhm.
just don't stop. So that's number one rule.
Don't stop.
Do you know what I mean? Because we all mess up. And when people mess up, they
Yeah.
think, oh no, I've messed up. Oh,
It's
I might
over.
as well not bother anymore. Eat this
Mhm.
cake for
The
myself.
whole thing.
The whole thing, not just a slice. I might as well eat the whole cake because I've messed up. So that's the number one rule because that's just silly. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
like that because we all mess up. But I think with exercise, for example, it's walking more because, as I said, I even have to remind myself. I sit at the desk a
Mhm.
lot. A lot of people have more sedentary work now where they're in front of the
Sure.
computer, whatever. So it is just walking, doing something you enjoy more, or you can do to start off with. If you're not doing any exercise, just walk.
Mhm.
And I would suggest first thing in the morning, because they've done studies for people that leave it till the evening. It never happens. The
Mm.
day starts, that you get
Yeah.
caught up, and I've done it for years. I fooled myself thinking I'm going to do it later. It never happens.
Yep.
Just do it first thing in the morning, and I promise any listener they will get into it. They will feel, you've got to give it, we have to give our brains time to get used to it, to,
Mhm.
that build that sort of habit and that feel good factor. Get past the alarm, the
Mhm.
snoozing of the alarm.
Yeah.
So again, it's all little things and it takes time because you need to get past that phase. You need to
Mhm.
get past the snooze phase first.
Right.
So what I do, just another little pointer, I've started and I still have to do it. I'm a snoozer. I put my phone outside of my room.
Mm.
So I never have my phone in my room when I go to bed. I have my alarm. I have it downstairs or in the hallway outside. So I have to get up to turn it off. And then I'm
Ah.
more likely to have your gym gear, your walking gear, whatever, easy in the bathroom, whatever. So it's
Mhm.
easy just to put on. So start small. And that's another thing why I think people give up. They try to do too much too quick. Start
Mhm.
small. And it's the same with food, eating just a little less processed, eating just a little less, have certain days that you have it or without it, it's just
Mhm.
making small changes. Or swimming's a great one, it's easy on the knees if people have got joints or certain conditions. But walking, I think, is the easiest thing for most people.
Mhm.
And then just making it slightly longer because then you just want to improve and build up. So you slightly do faster walks, so you're
Mhm.
working the cardio a bit more. So whether you're doing sort of 3 days to start with for 10 minutes a day, then you can
Mhm.
build it to 15 minutes and then 20
Yeah.
minutes. And before you know it, you can then start monitoring. And the clock is the having a watch is a good thing, to
Mhm.
measure your steps.
Right.
That's another kind of recommendation. Because as they say, what gets measured gets managed. And it
Mhm.
kind of, I know you said you wasn't competitive, but when you see the numbers, you kind of think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to do 1,500 tomorrow. Oh, I did
Yeah.
that quite easily. I'm going to do 2,000 tomorrow. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? It's like, it just
Yeah.
gives you a little goal.
Right. I love that. I feel like I can be competitive with myself for sure.
Y- Yeah. And they say that absolutely. Your competition isn't with other people, it is with yourself.
Yeah.
We deserve to look after ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I love it, Susie. Another thing that we chatted about that I
Mm,
definitely want to make sure that we touch on is, being a foodie is like such a thing, right?
mm,
Especially now. And it's like, I could never be vegan. I couldn't eat that way. I couldn't live that way
mm,
because what do I do about all my fancy foods? And how do I be snobby about my food? I'm just kidding. How do I
mm,
enjoy all my fancy foods and
mm.
still be vegan? So how do you do it? How do you be
What
foodie and
what
a
be
vegan?
vegan and stop all the fat? Oh, sort of like well, yeah. So thing is being like, so there's like vegan and then there's whole foods because now it's actually really easy to be, in my mind it's like really easy to be a vegan now.
Yeah.
But it's just veganizing, I suppose, your family favorites. Because I must admit, I do see myself as a foodie, and I know it
Mhm.
seems quite funny because some people think, well, how can you be a foodie if you can't eat this and you can't eat that?
Right.
It's so true. But I am a foodie, and I really do take my family traditional food. It's a big thing. We've all got family favorite foods. and it really brings you together as a unit, and tradition and those occasions where you associate certain times with certain dishes.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just making those swaps. I don't know. For example, one of our family favorites is it's called cow sway. It's like a Vietnamese. It's a mixed because my mother's from Anglo. She's Indian, but she's Anglo Indian, and it's a sort of a Burmese Anglo
Mhm.
dish. So it's kind of like a curry with noodles, and one of the main ingredients is like chicken.
Mm.
But as we know, it's so easy now to get a chicken
Yeah.
alternative.
Mhm.
And some have less ingredients than others. As we've said, we're trying to go whole food. If you can't pronounce it, I mean, then try to avoid it. But and some have got a lot less ingredients than others. I found a really good one for occasionally when I have the chicken substitute, which again, yeah, it's not about being perfect. Whole food, I don't cook everything from one ingredients all the time,
Mhm.
but it really has got like 5 ingredients. It's brilliant. But
Yeah.
then tofu, I've
Right.
just swapped it for air frying tofu. Again, it's just learning how to cook certain things.
Mhm.
And birthdays, I think food is quite an easier thing to swap these days, and make transitions. I think quite a hard one is like cakes and
Mhm.
um, sort of treats and desserts. But again, I think with the vegan thing, I find it easier because there's no restriction on oils, sugars, coconut. When you're going a bit more whole food, plant-based, and when you're going from a health point of view,
Mhm.
as we know, I mean, everyone knows, doesn't matter what you eat, we all know that oil, sugar, and salt is not necessarily good for us. So we're meant to be reducing those. So it's just taking that to another level and incorporating it, and making substitutes for that. And again, it's just getting to know, like substituting sugar in cakes now, or bases, using dates. Like whole food, they use a lot of ingredients. They use dates and
Mhm.
oats instead of flour, and
Yeah.
bananas and apple puree instead of. So again, it's just getting to know. it's just
Mhm.
it's just trying and understanding, but it all stems with wanting to,
Right.
and having a big enough reason to.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's really what it comes down to in anything we do in our life, right? If we don't have a solid why for it, it's not going to stick. It's
No.
not going to become part of what we do and who we are.
Yeah,
But when you find it, when you understand and your why is deep enough, you know, you'll do anything to get that to be part of your life and make it a regular thing for you.
that's right. And I think, and to keep with it, and but like you say, and I think we've touched on it, it's having that compassion for yourself, having that forgiveness. Don't give up, because it is
Mhm.
going to be challenging, and it's one of the most challenging things. I think they say, don't they, when you're doing something for someone else, it's easier. So
Mhm.
like, so how we turned, vegan, if someone's thinking about going vegan, or it's easier because we are doing it for the animals, and it's easier.
Yeah.
When you're doing it for yourself, and you've only got yourself to answer to, we know what that brain, that good and bad, that we're constantly fighting with ourselves, whether it's about time, whether it's about your work, whether it's about your friends, your family, whatever. We're constantly having those conversations. So it is a constant self development.
Mhm.
Constantly, I have, deal with it all the time. I'm constantly listening to podcasts. I'm constantly trying to remind myself, constantly trying to push myself out the door, knowing just go and start, because they
Yep.
say the hardest thing to do it is to start. Once you start, I have to keep reminding myself and push myself to do my exercises. But once I start, you never regret it.
Yeah, that's so true.
You never regret it,
No.
And it's just doing it, it's making it so it's so built into your routine, it becomes a habit. And
Yeah.
that's what they say. And I love that quote. Don't diet, just build better habits.
Oh, that's good. I like that too. That's great advice.
Yeah, it's true. It's not thinking of dieting. It's just thinking of ourselves as, um, yeah. It's well. I can't wait to read your book, The Pleasure Trap, because I think that'll be lots of tips in there. Well, the
Yeah.
Pleasure Trap, and there's another book my daughter just got. What's the habit? Have you heard about that habit book?
Um,
Building.
does it have
I've
a
got
yellow cover?
yes.
Okay. I can see it in my head, but the title is and the author is not coming to
Oh,
me.
hang on. It's called Atomic.
Atomic Habits.
That's
That one?
it.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, phew, it got there. That's the awkward thing, isn't it? When you're talking on a show, you're like, oh my gosh, now I've just totally forgot. Yeah, Atomic Habits. My daughter's just bought it actually, so I'm going to read that next.
Oh, nice. Very good. And if
Mm,
you want to dive into a bit of the pleasure trap before reading the book, you can find and I'll actually link it in the show notes too, so anyone listening can go and watch as well. But Doug
mm.
Lisle does you can find him doing a pleasure trap talk on YouTube. And he's so funny and he's drawing pictures and he's terrible at it. And it's just
Hello.
uh, super informative, but really fun. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a really good time. And it's like 17 minutes long, I think. I think you can find one that's like an hour, but
Oh, do a
yeah,
link. That would be good. That'd be interesting.
yeah,
I'd
yeah. I'll
like to
send
look
you
at
the
that.
link. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'll really get a lot out of that book. And I think you'll be able
Oh,
to like add it into the work that you do to
oh, fantastic. Well, this is
support
it.
your
This is
people
it. Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That sounds really
Awesome.
good.
Well, Susie, I think I've got one more question for you.
Mm, mm.
How does hummus show up in your life?
Ah! Yeah. I was thinking, "Oh, what question could that be?" I forgot about that. I'd love to know how you decided to choose. What a great name.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's such a great name. Oh, do you know what? I eat hummus all the time,
Mm.
and it's so easy to make, but I must admit, I don't make it enough. So I need to slap my wrist. Um, but we eat it all the time, and there's one particular one that we have. It's jalapeno and coriander, which is cilantro and jalapeno.
Sounds amazing.
It is got a kick to it, and it is gorgeous. We buy it in big tubs,
Hmm.
so we have it, yeah, a lot. And it's one of my daughter's favorites to have on toast with avocado.
Ooh, nice.
Crushed pepper and lemon juice. Getting hungry now. I know. My lunch is cold. Yeah, my belly's rumbling with that conversation. But yeah, hummus. It's amazing, isn't it? And chickpeas. I mean, who would have thought it? So many more things though are making with chickpeas as well.
Yeah, I know. It's like the best little bean. It's just or pea, I don't know, what is it? A pea, a
Yeah.
legume? Um,
If it's one thing you could have, it would be chickpeas, surely.
yeah, absolutely. My husband just air fried and then, tossed them in chocolate, and they were like these
That's
crunchy
right.
little treats. He saw it online and he's like, "I'm gonna make this."
So true. I was
Yeah.
just about to tell you as well because I made a chocolate spread out of chickpea with
Oh,
chocolate, and I mean, how easy and healthy is that? Like
yeah.
cacao powder, chickpeas, a little
Mhm.
agave,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
so yummy. And then I suppose even to replace it with Nutella, adding you could roast some hazelnuts. Just add
Mm.
some hazelnuts with some melted chocolate, and now we're
Yeah.
cooking.
Dip some fruit in that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Apple. I love hummus with apple.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds great. I have never dipped an apple into hummus, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, no, it's really nice.
In the chocolate hummus or regular hummus?
Both.
Oh, okay. Now you're like you just did this with your hands. You're expanding our like you're expanding my world here, Susie.
Yeah, but have you ever had a chocolate fondue?
Yes.
There you go. So you have fruit in the chocolate from like banana or
Mm-hmm.
orange, apple, whatever. So no,
Yeah.
but that would be lovely with the chocolate hummus, apple.
Yeah. Mm. All
See,
right.
that's one little swap instead of sort of crackers or I don't know,
Cookies. Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, now you really got me. I'm salivating now. Uh,
well, well, I will let you go and enjoy your lunch. Susie, this conversation has been wonderful, and I can't
oh,
wait for my listeners to hear it.
oh,
Thank you so
thank
much for
you.
joining me.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Kimberly. It's been lovely.
Welcome back. Susie and I recorded this interview a couple of months ago, and I'm actually really glad that it's just going out now. And here's why. I have been consistently walking first thing in the morning for about a month now, and I can tell you everything Susie said about that is 100% right. Everything about my day has improved. My mood, my productivity, my overall well-being. I encourage you to give it a try. To connect with Susie, visit her website, vegansusy.com. Find her on Facebook and Instagram at Plant-Based Susy. By the way, that's Susie with an S, Susy. I hope you found this episode helpful and inspiring. Please subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're loving it, please give Did You Bring the Hummus a 5-star rating and leave a review. It's an easy way to keep supporting the show. Be sure to share these episodes with your friends. If you're finding something good here, they will too. If you're a vegan or know a vegan who would be a great fit for the podcast, follow the Be a Guest link in the show notes. Fill out the quiz and I'll be in touch. Get on my mailing list and stay up to date on all things Did You Bring the Hummus. Get more info on how you can sign up for a meditation, one of my programs, or to support the podcast via the links in the show notes. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Did You Bring the Hummus, and visit my website, didyouBringTheHummus.com, for more information about me, updates on what I'm working on, new podcast episodes, and all things vegan. Finally, I would love to hear from you. What do you need help with? Is there a topic you want to hear covered on a future episode? DM me on Instagram or send me an email at info@didyouBringTheHummus.com. Thanks for listening. Thank you.